Hi everyone. I just wanted to make a video to remind folks to make sure and save your Rhino files in the following format with your last name first. I just finished grading our first round of homework assignments, and it just makes it a lot easier if I have this kind of standardized method of being able to have the files so that I can account for the fact that you have done them. So just make sure that you're following that naming convention. I think it'll also help for your own personal records and kind of file formats that you keep on your computer too. So again, last name first, and then assignment name, and then the semester. So see if you can do that. That would help a lot. I also wanted to talk about working in Rhino and saving in Rhino. I know a few folks had difficulty saving their file in .3dm, which is a Rhino default. So I just want to kind of go over how to do that in case anyone has questions. And then I'll also cover how to make various file types that we export to. And so we'll kind of go over that and discuss it as well. Let's do a sphere here. Just draw a few things. So I've got this model that I've created, and let's say I want to save that. Right? It's just as simple as going File, Save, and it's going to ask me what I want to name that file. So we'll do our naming convention, which is flood underscore. We'll call this test, and then summer 2020. And we'll save that. All right, so now that we have that saved, anytime I do something or I add something to this, let's just go ahead and do we'll do a pipe. Let me just draw a quick form here. And then we will pipe this. All right, so now we have created this adjustment to it. Now you'll notice on the Mac you get this little black dot, so you can tell that you haven't saved recently. So what I try to get in the habit of doing is anytime I see that black dot and I'm going to kind of pause, a stopping point or pause, I'll usually just hit Command S, or if you're on a PC, Control S, and then that'll just auto save to the file that you have already created. So that's a really nice way to just kind of get in the habit of repeatedly saving your work. Now, let's say we wanted to take and let's say I asked for the .3dm. Basically, it's already saved. It's there. You're just going to take that .3dm file that's saved to the desktop, and it should be right here, and that's the .3dm file you just drop in whenever I ask for that particular file. Now let's say we wanted to export to something else, a different file type. Rhino is a really versatile program in that it can save a variety of different file types. Most of the time when we're working with 2D objects where we're outputting maybe to a laser cutter or vinyl cutter, we would either be using an Adobe Illustrator AI file or a AutoCAD DWG or AutoCAD DXF file. Those are kind of your three common 2D based file types that we would export to. So in this case I've drawn 3D objects, so it's not going to export those, but later on when we start 3D printing, we'll be working with .objs and especially .stls. That's the file that we send to a 3D printer, which will basically convert the 3D object into a mesh. So those are kind of your main export file extensions that we'll be using. And so that's how you export. If we export using this export command that I'm using right now, let's say we export it as an STL, it would save all of these objects and we'll talk more about these little pop-ups later, but it would save these objects, all of them in relationship to each other as a group. If we wanted to export just a singular object, we would choose export selected. And sometimes this is necessarily, especially when we're working with 2D designs or even 3D designs, where we want to isolate just a singular object, and we're able to export just that object as the type of file type that we want. So if we wanted to say this is an STL, then we could say flood, and then we'd say cone, and you'll see that we have the .stl file extension, and then we hit OK, and then export. Again, we'll talk about those pop-ups later. So it saved just that singular object when I do export selected. So just keep that in mind, that those are important kind of skills to have, to know how to export. Sometimes I might ask for a different file type in your area where you're turning in things in as you learn. So be aware of that. Now, a few of you had given me some JPEGs, which is very nice to kind of have. So this makes it quick to see, like, okay, this is the assignment, and then you've got this JPEG. So especially when you start uploading to Instagram, you may want to have JPEGs, right, to be able to show your work. So I want to show you a few methods of getting a JPEG from Rhino. So the first one is one that most people are familiar with, which is basically grabbing a screen capture. And so on a Mac, you can use Command Shift 4, and then that will give you this crosshair, and then you can select what you want to grab and just take a screen capture of it. Okay, so that's one method. PC, you can use snipping tool. If you actually go down to your Windows tab down here, you can actually type in snipping tool, and it will allow you to do the same thing, and you can save that as a JPEG. Now, the thing I don't like about that is that if we click on that, it looks okay, but if we start zooming in on this, the resolution starts to go way down. It gets very pixelated. So I don't like the fact that you really can't control the resolution. It's just going to do the default screen resolution that you're choosing or that you're working with. So that's not usually the best method for grabbing a JPEG from Rhino. Now there's a command called capture, and I usually start typing in capture, and you'll get view capture to file or screen capture to file. I'm going to choose view capture to file, so whatever view I'm in, which in this case is a perspective, it will grab that view, and I can turn on and off the grid. I can get rid of the world axes, which is the red and the green lines. And the C-plane axes, I can get rid of that. I can make a transparent background. Those of you in graphic design, you might actually want to isolate, right, and have a transparent background. And then you can choose a custom resolution, right? So you can choose something that is a specific size, or completely customize that. You can scale the objects larger, so that you're getting, larger resolution, right? We can scale that by 2, and then we can hit apply, and then you have options for both JPEG, PNG, TIFF, and bitmap. And so we'll just save this to the desktop, and we'll take a look at it. So now, with me saving that, we should wind up, and if we look at, if we do info on this, we're looking at 344 kilobytes, right? And let's look at this one and see what we get here, right? We're looking at 582 on that one. But let's take a look at this and see what we wind up getting. It's got a different look to it. You can tell right away. It just has a little bit more refined look like Rhino has. We can even play with that further, right? Let's bump that up even more. So if we just do that same command, view capture to file, we could say let's do it times 10, and let's apply that and see what we get. Let's do test 00 or 01, and let's see what we get there. And this one may take longer, right? Because we're getting more information. We'll see how this handles it with scaling that. All right, so now we got that. So if we go and we look at our test and we pull that up, now we're looking at 4.6 megabyte. Wow, that's like so much better in terms of our resolution. And you can see there's a certain look to this where it just gets like way better, right? We can keep zooming in. So if we're going to take this to print, right, and we're actually going to print this out, your quality is going to be so much better than those initial screen captures that we were doing. So I want you to get in the habit, if you're going to do it, if you're going to grab a JPEG, or I ask for a JPEG, make sure that resolution is high. That is really important, because we're thinking about this as like archiving and using these to be able to like publish in your portfolio. And if you've got some cruddy, low res image of what you've created, it's pretty much worthless. And if you're going to spend the time, go ahead, use that command capture, right? So that you can, and again, it'll just pop up capture, so you can grab view capture to clipboard, or actually, sorry, should be the other one, to file. So view capture to file. Bump up your resolution, and really make sure you're grabbing good quality images. Now later on, I'm going to show you how to even take that one step further, and we're going to be able to add color and texture, and we're actually going to create what are called renderings. And renderings take a lot longer to kind of set up and to capture, but the quality will blow you away. And so I just wanted to talk about that, because this is really useful, to be able to kind of show what you're doing and do it in a JPEG format or PNG or TIFF or whatever. So I wanted you to know how to capture that. Again, it'll be important later on when we make our logos. I'm going to ask for some JPEGs of those, and you may want to choose a transparent background on that to be able to get something that is totally usable for you in terms of designing, letterhead or some sort of branding that you want to build around your business. So hopefully that helped. If you've got questions about this, please reach out. Let me know. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have. And if you have any problem uploading in the future, please, again, let me know.